Hi, welcome to the webinar on ArcGIS Online. We're gonna it's the top of 11:30 right now, so we're just gonna give it a minute or two, just for any last minute people logging in, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you can just confirm that you can hear me, that way I know everything is working. All right, so let's go ahead and get started in ArcGIS Online. My name is Alexis Rank. I am the lead training and support coordinator here at Psych2Do Business. Before we jump right in, I just want to take a quick stop and let you all know about the Learning Center. So if after this webinar you have any questions, the Learning Center is a great resource. The Learning Center contains additional webinars that we have put on in the past, How Do I videos, which are about 3 to 5 minute videos on how to do specific topics in Psych2Do Business. We also have the report section, which is just suggested reports. And then just make note of this resources section. We're going to actually be using it later in this webinar. And again, you can get to it by going to the Learning Center and then clicking Resources. And then last but not least is the Contact Us. So if you have any questions after this webinar and can't find any additional resources on the Learning Center, you can reach out to us at support@stdb.com. Or if you want to reach out to me directly, you can reach out to me at arank@ccam.com. Now, if you do have questions during the webinar, please don't hold them till the end. We have nifty features like the chat box or this Q&A box. So just feel free to post in there. I'm going to try to get to these questions throughout the webinar. If there's any that I cannot get to, I'm going to stay on the line afterwards just to make sure we can address any additional questions. All right. See, no questions about the Learning Center. So let's talk about ArcGIS Online. I'm gonna just go back to this page. So if you don't know anything about ArcGIS Online, it's another tool that is provided by Esri. Esri is the company that also provides us Business Analyst. And Business Analyst and ArcGIS Online are actually linked. If you think of it, ArcGIS Online is sort of like the parent product of Business Analyst. So Business Analyst is a subproduct of ArcGIS Online, and so they're connected through that way. That means we can actually share things in between both of them and use them both for analysis. If you worked with Business Analyst, you know that we can upload our own data. So if you have a spreadsheet of businesses that you created or sites that you're representing and you wanted to upload them into Business Analyst, you can definitely do that. And we could do the same thing at ArcGIS Online. Now, the question I always get is if I can do the same thing in both, why am I picking ArcGIS Online over Business Analyst? Essentially, my answer is usually depending on your analysis, but also the amount of data that you want to import. Business Analyst is great for uploading anything usually under about 500 sites. So if you wanted to get into that like large mega data where you have like 500 plus 1,000 sites, I would suggest uploading into ArcGIS Online first. And then you can switch it over to Business Analyst if you need to run analysis. So let's go over the process of adding things into ArcGIS Online. we're going to actually create a spreadsheet using another tool that we have available, Database USA, and then we're going to take that spreadsheet and then upload it into ArcGIS. So if you're familiar with Database USA, we just have to click Open. And what I always like to remind people is don't really use this quick search, always select the advanced search. It's going to give you a little bit more options. It's going to be able to like play around with it and really build what you're looking for. So for right now, I'm just interested in the city. I'm going to go to a state. So I'm going to take a look at Arizona and just type it in. And say I was looking for manufacturing businesses who make over a certain amount in revenue. So I can go down to major industry group, select that, and you can actually see that I can select by major industry group. I can even select this plus button to pull a drop down to really narrow down my search. But for right now, I just need general manufacturing. Right now, I can sit here and update my count, and I can just see the amount of businesses that fit these two criteria. But I also wanted to have an estimate of revenue. So I can select this annual revenue, and I can actually go and select multiple ones. So if I was looking for businesses that make over 50 million, I can select that and continue selecting down the line until I have all the criteria I want. Just to double check, I can update my count and I can see the amount of businesses available. I can find out more information by hitting the search button. And you can see that I can see a list of all the businesses. I can select a business and take a look at more detail. So I can see if it has any contact information, a demographic profile, any job postings for it, along with just getting more detailed information, competitors, executive directory if they have contacts for specific people. But right now, I don't need this information, so I can just go back. And we're going to actually download our list of 32 results into a spreadsheet. To do this, I can just hit download. I have to name my download. I suggest also typing in a file name. It's optional, but what will happen is it will download a file and it'll be a string of numbers. So it's just easier to organize yourself. The next thing is to add your email address. What Database USA does is it will send you an email with this information. And then format, we're going to actually switch it to CSV to make it a little bit easier to upload. And then choose our level of detail. Results view is everything on this first page. Details view is everything on that second page. And then custom, that allows you to switch in between which ones that you're interested in. So if I was only interested in like the mailing address and a contact person, I could just upload that. For now, we're going to just leave it results view. And then you can see you'll get this notification that it will download and be emailed to you with the email that I put in. I'm going to hit close. And this email from Database USA usually takes about a minute or two. So as we are waiting for that, let me go ahead. Oh, it's here already. So in the email, you can just click button and it will download and you can save it to your computer wherever you normally keep your information. All right, so now we're going to actually pull open ArcGIS Online. I'm going to hit open. Currently, I am working in Firefox. Just to let you know that some browsers, especially Google, will sometimes automatically take you to Business Analyst instead of ArcGIS Online. As I mentioned earlier in the webinar, those two are linked, and Google Chrome likes to make things more efficient for you, so it will sometimes think you're trying to go here to the click here. You can either solve this by switching to another browser, like using Firefox, Safari, or you can clear your cookies and cache in Google Chrome, and this issue will go away. So from here, we want to select Maps. And then you can see that we'll have a map of the United States. I'm going to go ahead and clear my map. So you can see we're on like the outside edge. And then here is the map of the United States. So the nice thing about uploading things into ArcGIS Online is I just have to go to where I've saved this file. You can see it right here. And I can actually just drag and drop it. And you can see it automatically understands that my columns are labeled addresses or places. And as long as my column headers are named address, city, state, it'll automatically upload. If you choose to name them something different, it may not recognize it, so you may have to manually tell it to associate this column with zip code. So we're going to hit Add Layers, and in just a few moments, you can see that we have a nice layer of those businesses we searched. We can either set it to types unique, we can set it to location single symbol, and if you've worked in Business Analyst, you've seen these two options before. In the options section, this is where you can change up colors, style. Once we're satisfied with this, we can just hit Done. And then you can see, like in Business Analyst, any of those columns that we've had will also be included in each of the dots. So if you had any additional information, so your own personal notes, or if you wanted to include more information, you can include that in your spreadsheet and upload it into ArcGIS Online. So the nice thing about this is we can actually share this map as well. So instead of sharing it as a PDF or a static image, we can actually share items in here a little bit more interactively. So first, you have to save your map. So we're just going to hit that save button. I'm going to name it. You're going to have to add any tags. And I could choose to add a brief description. And it'll save. Next, we can do is hit this share button. You can see we currently have 3 options. Besides private, which is what it's currently set to, I have the option to share with members of groups. So if I created groups in business or in Site to Do Business, I can share it with a specific group or groups that I'm a part of. I can share it to the whole Site to Do Business organization. That means anyone who has a Site to Do Business account can see it. Or I can share it publicly. That means anyone can see it. They don't need to have an account. They don't even need to be a part of Site to Do Business or know what Business Analyst is or ArcGIS Online. So I'm going to select everyone. And you can see it'll change a little bit. And I can grab this link. So I can just copy that, hit done. And then if I go to a private window and paste it in here, you can see I can open up this map. And I'm not even signed in. And I can see all that information that was uploaded earlier. And it's a little bit interactive where I can click on it and show this information. I can move around the map a little bit. I can even toggle it on and off if you had multiple layers and upload it into your map. So I have a question about members of the private group. Yes, they do need access to Site to Business because it's basically in those groups, it's members of Site to Business or who have accounts that you've just sectioned off. And so if you are working within people in your company and you wanted team one group, you could have that, but you couldn't share it to anyone outside the organization. So unfortunately, if you wanted to share any information to anyone outside, it has to be made public, unless you just show them using your computer. All right. Let's see, double check if we have any questions about uploading things into ArcGIS Online. Doesn't look like we have any additional questions. So, like I was saying before, ArcGIS Online and Business Analysts are connected. So that means I can actually pull information that I've uploaded here into Business Analyst. So we're going to just review this section really quick. So currently we're right now in the map section, but I can actually go to the content section. This is where all my information that I've created exists. So I can take a look at the map I just created. I can see it here. I can see my sharing level, which is public. I can view more details. I can also open it back up in my map viewer, and I have a couple different other options here. Now, before we get to these other options, I'm going to show you how to upload it into Business Analyst. And for that, we're going to need to go directly to Business Analyst. I just got a question in as what needs to be in your CSV file to be able to upload items onto the map. So if you just, let me go ahead and actually pull up a different spreadsheet I was working on. So all you technically need to upload things into the map and for your either Business Analyst or ArcGIS Online is an address, city, state, zip. So technically I just need those 4 columns and I'll be able to upload it. I can also do by latitude and longitude if I had that information. So as long as you have that geographic location, those zip codes, something in which the site, the program can say, yes, this is where it's supposed to go on the map. And then you can have what other additional headers and columns you'd want. So like this one has phone number, has number of employees, revenue, date in which I got the data, and any additional information like contact information. So you can go, so to see what we've created in ArcGIS Online and Business Analyst, we're going to go to Business Analyst. I actually already have it opened up here. And we're going to hit this Add Data button. And if you're unsure of how I got here, essentially it was Home, and then I selected Maps. So I'm going to select Add Data. And instead of hitting this Import from File, I've already created this, so I can hit Web Maps and Layers. So this is where it connects both of them. So then I can look through my content, which is all the content I've created before. I can search by just typing, and I can see the map that I've created. I can add, and you can see that I've added it to my map. And I'm working with Business Analyst, so I'm able to click on these dots and say this is the one I've determined I want to find more information about. I can create a buffer around it, and then I could do analysis on it like any other point location in Business Analyst. Right here, I just pulled up a target market summary, infographic, go ahead and close. And so this is just a couple different ways of connecting the two together. Now, that being said, we can do the exact opposite. We can create things in Business Analyst and put it in ArcGIS Online. So if I'm going to go ahead and clear my map in Business Analyst, and I'm going to pull up some information that I've actually already created. So I'm going to go to my webinar section, which is just the title of my project, and pull down my project list. These are all the sites and information that I've created over the past couple of months. So I'm going to pull down my point locations, and I'm going to look at Phoenix, Arizona. And you can see that I've already created this buffer of 5 miles around this point in the city. Now, earlier today, I also searched some more information. I was interested in the food and restaurants in the area. And then I also created another layer of looks like I didn't actually save that layer. So we'll just go ahead and create this. Oh, nope, here it is. So created this total population layer, which I'm just going to open to my map. And you can see that I have an overlay. I'm going to just make sure it's set to only Phoenix of a total population density map, a buffer, and some data points. So I can choose on this right-hand side on this vertical toolbar, this fourth button up that's Share Map to ArcGIS Online. I can also select Share Results and say ArcGIS Web Map. And like before, I have to add some tags. I can add a description. I can choose what layers I want to upload. So I want to upload this layer, my site layer, and this color-coded map. Right now I don't need to worry about this because I just want to have it shared to myself. So I'm going to hit share. And it takes a few minutes to upload, definitely depending on your layer, but you can always see it's working down here in this corner. And it will give you a little pop-up once it's done. All right, so once this is finished, I can pop back to ArcGIS Online. I have it already open, so I'm going to just click it, and I am still going to stay in this content section. And you can see that now there's this new upload, this AZ web map, and you can see currently it's only shared with me, and I want to take a little bit more look into it, so I'm going to select it. I have this option to open it up in Map Viewer. So if I select that, you can see that it has uploaded, and I can view it like I can in Business Analyst. So if I wanted to run further analysis on it using some tools in ArcGIS Online, I could definitely do that. We're gonna get into that a little bit later in the webinar. First, I want to show you something you can quickly do using just sharing it into ArcGIS Online. So I'm going to go back to our content section. And what I'm going to show you is how to create a presentation. So you can see we have some other additional options down here. I'm going to select this button that says Create Presentation. And then Create Presentation is another little app within it in which you can actually create a slide by slide, a little bit more interactive way of showing what's in your site. So if I wanted to first show my buffer zone and then show the layer of population and then show the layer of businesses and then show it all together, I can create a sort of a step-by-step view of this. So I'm just going to select this Add button. It may just take a second to load. And what you'll typically see is a slide section in which you can add different slides. I'm going to actually refresh this. There we go. And we can select this Add button. I can title my slide. So I can say Study Area and click off the points that I'm not interested in. So if I just wanted this, I wanted a nice close-up view. Then I can add in another slide and I can say pop. And again, include the points that I want to share. Add. Say I wanted to zoom out a little bit with that one. I can do that and center it and hit set. And then add my final one, which is everything. And then what I can do is, of course, always save your presentation. And what I have is this presentation in which I can go through each slide to show any additional information. That I have. All right. And this presentation is saved to your content section, so you can always pull it back up whenever you need it. All right, I'm going to go back to the home section for just one moment. And we're going to go back to our map. I'm going to clear my map, so I'm going to just have a new map available. Now, I just got a question in on, is there a way to show traffic counts on the map? Yes, there are definitely ways of showing traffic counts. There's a couple ways in Business Analyst, and then there's also a couple ways in ArcGIS Online. So let's go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry, there was a couple questions that came in. So let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna zoom into an area on the map, and we're gonna take a look at some additional layers we can add in ArcGIS Online. So we're going to select this Add button, and we're going to hit Add Layers from Web. Oh, sorry. From web. I'm sorry. We're going to hit Search for Layers. In Search for Layers, you can see it's set to my content. So this is all layers that I've already created. We don't want layers I've created right now. We want to see what layers are available to us from users outside this organization. Or so we can take a look at this last option, which is ArcGIS Online. Now this contains layers that have been created by Esri, have been created by other users, have been created by sometimes government websites, state level. So I'm able to search for different layers. So if I was interested in traffic counts, I can actually see different traffic counts. And with anything, I want to just always double check who it's by. So I want to make sure that I'm grabbing something either by Esri or some official site, especially for like traffic counts. So I can see that there's this 2020 USA traffic count map. I can read more about it. And then I can select Add to Map. And you can see that I've populated this map with this US traffic count. What I can do is I can click on each of these dots. I can find out more information and gather information this way. If I'm satisfied with this or I don't want any more, I can hit this little remove button. I also get a question on parcels. I can do the same thing and search to see if there's parcels available. These tend to be a little bit harder to find searching. There's a couple other ways I can do it. We could talk about those a little bit later in the webinar. Since we're talking about traffic counts, I'm going to flip over to Business Analyst and just show you other ways of doing traffic counts. So in Business Analyst, let me go ahead and clear my map of everything but the site. There is a report available, so if I select this, hit Reports, and then scroll down to Traffic Count Map, I can see a map of the traffic counts. It may just take a second or two to load. Business Analyst also has this historical traffic count layer, which is going to be similar to that one we uploaded, where you can see the traffic counts represented in a little bit of a different way. We'll have those counts and amount circles. I'm going to go ahead and open this report. And you can see that I can get a report of my study area. All right. Also got a question on, since we're here in Business Analyst, of can you also do drive times versus mile radius around a site? We totally can. Let me go ahead and turn off this filter as well. So when creating a site, I'll just drop a pin right here, hit this create site. I can select rings, I can select drive times, I can also select walk times. I can set it to whatever I want. If later on I've decided that, you know, this 5-mile radius was nice, but I'm actually more interested in drive times, I can select edit area. And instead of having radius, it's the same thing. I can switch to drive times. I can change that information to whatever I would like. All right, so we're gonna go back, excuse me, to ArcGIS Online. So this is just sort of some of the things you can do and take a look at the different information that's available. If I was interested in terrain, elevation, I can search. There's also this other really nifty feature, and it's called the Living Atlas. The Living Atlas are items created usually by Esri that are updated live. So if I was still interested in traffic, but I wanted a more minute by minute report, I could actually pull up this like World Traffic Service layer, and I hit Add to Map, and you can see it has this tag Living Atlas, and I can see that the map has sort of changed a little bit, and I can see it's sort of green or red depending on the traffic. If we look at this description, we can see that this is actually updated every 5 minutes. So this really dynamic map that I can use to show real-time traffic. Now, we had a talk about what if a layer I have doesn't exist. You can actually upload your own information into this. So, and we're gonna I'm gonna clear my map. I got a question before we jump into that about zoning overlays. Possibly if this is available. Again, it's one of those things you have to search for it. Or you can, if you had another website in which that had the information, I'll show you right now how to download that and upload it in. So, to do this, we need to flip over to our content section right here. So we can actually hit Add Items. So, for right now, I'm going to just Google trucking. There we go. Oh, yeah. There we go. So you can see that some things are available. ArcGIS Online and Esri will put these out in like the ArcGIS Hub, in which it's different layers that you can actually upload. So if I go over here to download, I can download, and I can choose different ways of downloading it. For right now, I'm going to choose a shape file because it's going to be fairly large, and we're just going to save it. And it will download to my browser. So you can download things and upload them either as a spreadsheet, which is what we've done, a KML file. Depending on the size, it may be better to do it as a shape file. And what I can do is in my content section, hit this Add Item, and then from my computer, browse, and I can select that, hit Open, and it'll automatically figure out what it is. And again, I have to add a title, any tags. So again, this will just be a map. And we'll hit Add. Oh. And we'll upload this item. Depending on the size and shape and scope of the file you want to upload, it may take a few minutes. Essentially what we're doing is we're creating our own hosted map layer. You can see it's called a feature layer. So that's going to be very similar to those layers we're looking through in ArcGIS Online, those like living atlas layers and those online layers that we looked at, traffic counts. And you can see like some websites, especially government websites, will have these files available to download. Just always check your sources before you download them. And like all of this, any layers that we've created, we can share them publicly. We can take a look at them in Business Analyst. We're just gonna, for right now, open in Map Viewer. Yes, so people are continually creating and developing ArcGIS or maps for this. Esri has whole teams that are constantly working on making sure this information is up to date and providing more information and trying to see what people need. You could just see right now, just leave it as this. I'm gonna hit done. And I just downloaded some trucking routes for this small section. All right. So I hinted earlier on when starting this webinar that we're going to actually use a tool that was created to help out with a question that we got a while back ago on how to prospect for certain businesses. If I'm going to go to Business Analyst, well, let me just clear out some extraneous information. I'm going to clear this map. New map. Yes. I'm going to clear this Business Analyst map as well. So I can create a smart map. And if you've worked with Business Analyst before, you know a smart map. I can select certain variables. Let me add some more. And I can use them to filter for specific criteria to search for certain geographic locations that would match when I'm interested. I could have it be block groups, census tract, could even take a look at it at state level. However, what if I wanted to actually take a look at something using consistent geographies? So I wanted to take a look at 1 mile radiuses over a city to actually get that information. I can't do it just using a smart map search. I need to create my own geographies. To do this, we developed a tool which is available to you on the Learning Center. Under the Resources section, you want to take a look for this Grid Prospector tool. I've downloaded it earlier, so I'll just pull it up for you guys so you can take a look at what it looks like. For it, I'm going to zoom up to the top. All you need is your latitude and longitude for the top right corner and your latitude and longitude for the bottom right corner. Because essentially what we're doing is we're going to take a look at a section. I'm going to clear my map. Just so you guys can see. We're just taking a look at a square grid section from like here to here. with 1 mile radiuses filling this space. So we can take a look at a 1 mile radius of information, a 1 mile radius information, all the way across this grid. And so what I want to do is find the top right corner of this and the bottom left corner of this. There's a couple different ways I can do this. In the interest of time, since I know we're about 15 minutes, we're going to just use the current ones that are listed in my spreadsheet. But what I can always do is if I needed this latitude and longitude and I didn't want to do a Google map and find it or search it in another way, I can always drop a pin on my location, select create site, and then if I choose to run a report, that latitude and longitude is actually going to be right here in the report. So I could just drop a pin in my right corner, drop a pin in my left corner, and grab that information this way. So say I found both my latitude and longitude, and I pull open my grid prospector tool. I put that here, and I put that there, and then it'll generate a series of dots. The next thing I want to do is just scroll down and copy all this information into a new spreadsheet. And I could just name it flat and long. And I'm going to save this as a CSV. We'll just save it to our, we'll be consistent, and we'll save it to our downloads folder. And make sure I drop down and save it as a .csv. All right, and now I can go back to my business analyst. I'm going to clear my map. And not going to work in here. I'm going to actually go to ArcGIS Online, and I'm going to do that same thing I did before. I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop it. And just make sure I saved it correctly. Or I've actually done this before, so I'll just pull up the layer from the content section. And I take a look for my grid. Make sure this is correct. And what you can see is it will create a series of dots across my given latitude and longitude. The next thing I could do is, now that I have these dots, is I want to create a buffer around each of these dots. So I can do this by going to the analysis section, selecting use proximity, and then selecting create buffer. I want to select my layer, which I've named test, which is just these dots right here. select my distance. So if I wanted a 1 mile buffer ring, I would keep that. Name my layer, and then hit run analysis. And then you can see that it will generate a 1 mile buffer ring around each of them. Since I've already done this, you can see that this is my 1 mile ring around each of these layers. Now, these are just 1 mile rings around each dot. What I'm actually looking for is to analyze these layers based on information. So to do that, I actually need to enrich these layers with information. To enrich these layers with information, I'm going to select Analysis. I'm going to turn off this for right now. And I'm going to go down to Data Enrichment. And really easy, just trying to enrich this layer. And make this a little bit bigger. So I want to enrich my buffer layer. I want to select variables. And you can see that it's going to be a very similar information of how we've uploaded things in the past into Business Analyst, like running a color-coded map or a smart map. I can go through and select population variables. So I was interested in 2020 population. If I was interested in income. And if I was also interested in education level, I can include that as well. And I can apply all three. Once I've selected the variables, I could just go ahead and name my layer and hit run analysis. And like I've said before, when creating things in ArcGIS Online, especially depending on the size and scope in which you want to save it, it may just take a second or two to download. But I've already previously done this, so I'm gonna click on this, and you can see not much has really changed. It's just highlighted a different color. So then, what I can do is I can take this layer that I've created and actually just upload it into Business Analyst. So I'm gonna do the same thing I've done before. Go to Business Analyst. I'm gonna hit this Add Data. I wanna search for web maps and layers. I wanna pull up this grid tool test and pull it here. I'm gonna select Add. And you can see now that I have this consistent layer of 1 mile rings over my geography. Now, how do I actually do more analysis on this? So, what I can do is hit Create Maps and hit Smart Map Search. Select Get Started. I want to browse all variables. And you can see now I have this new button right here. Instead of starting with population, it starts with map layers. So this is layers that I've actually enriched with data. So you can see for this particular one, I've uploaded median household income, population, and apply. Since I created this a while ago, it has some older data in this, but I can always do the tool test and upload a new information into it. And I can use this Smart Map Search to limit and search for specific layers that I have available. Oops, looks like I have 2 layers on. But you can see, if I hover over each of these dots, I can see which ones match my criteria and which ones do not. Let me just go back. Unfortunately, since I have 2 buffer layers, it's a little bit hard to see, but it'd be like a normal smart map search in which you can limit that data. And then you can find one that matches your criteria. All right. So again, you can find the Grid Prospector tool on the resources section right here. We also have some additional information. So if you wanted to have some test sites to play around with, or some markets just to see how these items work, definitely feel free to go ahead and use this. Some of the other webinars might reference this section as well. It's always available to you. You don't even need to be logged into Site to Do Business to access it. Now, looks like I got a couple questions in. Just give me one moment and let me double check these. Oh, so if you're looking for some tutorials on Site to Do Business, what I would suggest is just going through the How Do I section. The How Do I section is, again, 3 to 5 minute videos on Site to Do Business, so a little bit more specific, and you don't have to watch an hour-long webinar. You could just find the information right away. They'll be a little bit less direct. There's also the report section. So the report section is suggested reports that you can run on specific types of businesses. There is a self-storage facility section, which are just some suggested standard reports you can run. And so that will sort of give you direction on, population and other factors. As I said about zoning in Phoenix, I'm not quite sure if that's available. I will happily help you after we've ended this webinar. Take a look to see if that's available. Some layers are available, some you have to add yourself. That's the fun of ArcGIS Online. It has a lot of breadth of information, and you can customize a lot of things. But sometimes you're gonna have to make them yourself or find them and then build them so that you can use them for your analysis. All right, so I'm gonna clear my map. We're a little bit short on the hour, so I'm gonna just turn off the recording and then feel free to answer any questions you guys have. Feel free to head off. The recording will be made available to you. And if you have any additional questions, always feel to contact us in that support section, just support@stdb.com. Or you can email me directly at arank@ccim.com. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.